Hello, everybody, and welcome. We're back again, and this time we're going to do another interview. No flash fiction today, but a flash interview. And we have Mr. OG Mike D with us again, former karate school student in the 1980s, and he's going to favor us with some karate stories. And sometimes these. Well, first of all, how did you get into the karate? And thanks for being here again.
Thanks for having me again, Tone. Appreciate it. I mean, growing up, we
Just
enjoyed watching Kung Fu with David Carradine, uh, watching karate movies, Bruce Lee, all
mhm.
those shows that came on every weekend, going over to Victor Chang's, buying Kung Fu weapons and ninja outfits and everything else that was available. Actually, there was a show that came out, you may have seen it, called Karate Kid.
Oh, Karate Kid.
Yes,
I think
yeah.
I've heard of that.
I think you mentioned it in your last
I may
interview
have
with
heard of that.
Cyril. And
Good movie.
yeah, I
Great
mean,
movie.
between all of us, I think we saw it, 500, 600 times, and
Great movie.
probably in our top favorite movies. But yeah,
Oh yeah. Oh
yeah,
yeah. Now, in those days, there was no pay for your karate class ahead of time, through computers and electronics and the money. So the student pretty much had to take the money with him to the class. And well, sometimes that doesn't always get where it's supposed to go, especially when there's a uh, video game arcade next door to the karate uh, dojo. So, what can you tell us? Was it always a smooth transaction to get into class, or how did that?
yeah, yeah. That could get hairy sometime, and I'll tell you. So, our friend Shannon, his aunt and uncle were both teachers at the karate dojo that we went to, which was owned by Chuck Norris. And so we had one friend who hadn't started going with us yet, but he wanted to join also. And so he came with us and he didn't have his permission slip or release signed by his father. So he couldn't join the day he came with us. He did have his tuition money, though, which at the time was 100 something bucks or more with him. And so once they told him that he'd have to bring his, permission slip, or his what the release they have you sign that if you get hurt, or something like that, that they're not liable, uh, that he could come back and sign up. Well, while me and Shannon were in there going through our class and everything, this guy went over to the arcade room in the 7-Eleven next door and started playing games, and
With his tuition money.
with his tuition money. And I don't know how many games he played and how many sodas he drank, but man, by the time it was over, he didn't have anything left.
He never made it to class then.
Never made it to class. And so my dad
Oh,
picked us up, and on the way home, we're in a 1970 something Pontiac Grand Prix. I think you're familiar with the car. And we're all in there, and he goes, I lost my tuition money. I can't find my tuition money. And so we're all like, Where'd you put it? I don't know. I was playing video games, but I have no idea. He goes, I'm just going to jump out of the car. I can't take it.
oh,
My dad's
oh
going to kill
no.
me. And so, you know, dad started, getting nervous, because this guy, he's thinking he may jump out of the car. This is a two-door with some huge windows. A kid could fit out the window, if he tried. But we make it home, and dad takes the whole car apart. He takes all the seats
Oh
out of his
no.
car. He takes the front seats, the back seats, everything out of the car just to make sure the money wasn't in there. And there was no money because the money was gone. And the arcade place, apparently the coin slots were full there, and there was no room to play any more games.
Well, what did he do on that occasion? Was he able to get into the dojo, or
Well,
just waited
this
outside?
what happened. Well, during that occasion, he just sat there the whole time playing games. Now,
Oh, during the whole class, he
during the
was
whole
next door
class,
playing games.
he played video
Oh,
games, ate twin chili cheese dogs and Coca Colas. Throughout,
oh
I mean,
no.
the guy was his stomach was swole up, from eating all those cheese dogs and stuff in there, chili cheese dogs, and
Oh
drinking cokes
gosh.
and stuff. And
Oh,
we're in there, practicing our katas in in karate class and everything. And We come out. He's got bags of chips, and he's got hot dogs, and
Are you kidding
he's
me?
played up. No, this
Are you
is honest
serious?
truth. This is a real story. This happened. But he did eventually. His dad was pretty upset with him that he mismanaged that money, and did give him the money to sign up for maybe the next month or whatever. So uh, there was a time when he actually did sign up, and I do have some stories on that.
Well, before we might go into that, what did the sensei, they took it seriously? They didn't want, just because they were kids, they didn't want them coming in there just wasting time. I mean, if somebody was in there trying to, be a comedian or something, the sensei's not going to put up with that, is he?
No,
Were there
it
any
really was.
incidents
It was
where
very
somebody was
serious.
trying to be a jokester and just, there
Yeah,
just to get laughs and
yeah.
so forth?
They took it very serious, um, because the people that went there and spent their money to go there, they wanted to learn karate. They wanted to learn. They wanted to move up. They wanted to get. They ultimately the goal was to become a black belt, and you're not going to get it in there practicing your jokes and stuff like that. So yeah. So this
Okay.
guy, the video gamer, he finally makes it in, and
Oh, the same guy, the video guy. Okay.
the same guy that did that. His dad gave him some money to sign up with his thing, and he signs up. First class. Before class they teach you a couple things. When we go to line up, you're going to get in. Everybody's going to get in their spot, and you know your sensei is going to say Jimbei. At Jimbei, you're going to go to attention. You'll have both fists come down in front of you, and you'll stand at
Oh,
attention, ready to
yeah,
go. And they take it serious.
yeah.
Well, Sensei yelled out Jimbei. This guy brought his hands down and grabbed his crotch and said, Jimbei this.
What?
So yeah, and this little guy, he was a small guy, little small guy, maybe 5'3", 5'4", very tiny little guy, but he's about a third-degree black belt. And so he goes, today we're going to work on the flying roundhouse kick.
Oh
And I,
no.
and I was thinking about, I said, well, man, we haven't started that. That's kind of high for starting off today. And he asked that guy, would you step forward and hold the pad for me? And so the guy walks up there, he holds the pad, and that little guy spun around, did a flying roundhouse, and kicked that guy into the sheetrock. And there was a
What?
dent in the
Are you
wall.
serious?
Yes. No, there was a dent in the sheetrock. And he goes, okay, let's start this over again. Jimbei. And that time the guy didn't do that anymore. That was
Okay,
the
so
last time he pulled that.
he was on board after that,
Yeah, it straightened him out, and everybody else
huh?
knew. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow. Well, okay. Any other stories you want to favor us with before we wind up, or we've got time if there's
You
anything
know,
else you want to bring up?
we really enjoyed it, and my nephew Cyril, you interviewed him before. He used
Yeah.
to go with me a lot to different martial arts places, and that Pops would bring us to, and we'd practice with
Okay.
everything that we could get a hold of, whatever
Okay.
stuff,
Okay.
nunchucks and flying stars,
Mhm.
whatever we could use, throwing stars, whatever we could get, and it was just a lot of fun, good times.
Now, uh, if you don't mind, I want to change the subject here for just a minute. The BMX racing. Now, the dirt track racing that you're a former BMX racer, dirt tracks with the jumps and the turns and the obstacles and the starting gate on the hill. Riders ready, watch the light, and then the gate falls.
That's it.
And you had
You
about
got it
what six,
down.
six, six to eight racers at one time up there on the hill.
Yes, depends
I
on
believe
how
that's
many
six to
are in
eight or
your,
10 or
yeah,
something.
how
Okay.
many are in your
That
moto.
first drop, how far was that first drop down the hill? It wasn't too bad, or was
Well,
it? It
when
was
you
just
were
more of a
when you were a little guy, if
yeah,
you're 11 or 12 years old, it feels like it's a mountain, but it's
yeah, yeah.
probably I would say in the 13-foot range, maybe a little
Anybody ever
longer.
wipe out on the first
Oh,
on
sure.
down the
There was
hill? Oh,
guys
really?
there was guys that would wipe out before the gate dropped because they were trying to get the jump, and they'd be pedaling. They'd
Did
be
you
because you're on the
just trying to get their elbow pads on?
just trying to get over. So the gate drops,
Yeah,
and you're supposed to be watching the lights as they go.
yeah,
Riders
mhm,
on the hill, riders ready, watch the light. And so you're
yeah,
waiting for it to hit green. Well,
Yeah.
guys have got their foot pedaling hard. Well, sometimes that gate doesn't open as fast as that light goes. So as soon as they see green, they may pedal hard. I've seen guys flip totally over the starting gate.
Okay.
Oh yeah, and roll down. I mean, that's a horrible way to start your race, but it happens.
Yeah. Yeah, just like in horse racing, sometimes the horse doesn't get a clean start. It just happens when the
That's
gate
it.
opens, they don't all get a clean start.
In BMX, it was a lot of fun. I mean, you know, you people would show up. It'd be usually Saturday or Sunday morning,
Uh-huh.
and your parents may come out there with some lawn chairs. They bring your you got your bike, you got some gear. You're supposed to have your you know my cousin Frank used to race with me sometime, and the same that a lot of guys in the neighborhood would go with us and race.
Mhm.
And you're supposed to have all your gear. You're supposed to have you got your elbow pads, you got your helmet. These are mandatory gear that you have to have at the time to race, and you got to have your number plate on your bike. Well, one time my cousin got out there, and he forgot his elbow pads,
Uh-huh.
and he got up there, and so my uncle walked out onto the track and yelled out, "Hey, Frankie, get your elbow pads on!" And the
Well, the
race,
guys were on, while they waiting for
race
the
had already
starting gate to
started.
drop. Oh, the race already started.
One race had already. So you got to realize, each race can kind of go in succession. They don't have to wait a long time to start another
The
race.
previous race session have to be finished before the next one starts.
Well,
What you're saying.
they could be on the if this gate just dropped,
Yeah.
the next heat's up there ready to go.
Yeah.
And so he was up there on that. He was up there on that on the hill, getting
Yeah.
ready, getting his bike positioned, and my uncle's on the track yelling at him to get his elbow pads, and doesn't realize those other guys are making their way around the track, and they're about to hit the whoop-de-doos and come straight over him after the second berm. So anyway, yeah, he yells over there. He goes, "Hey, get off the track, Dad!" And so he got off the track and didn't get hit and everything. But yeah, there was a lot of fun out there doing that, wiping out.
Okay.
Hey, I wiped out.
Did you wipe out?
Oh, sure. Coming down over. I remember
Like
coming down over the
on
last
the berm or something?
well, it was on the whoop-de-doos. Those were, for some reason, those were the things, man. They had
Is that
they would
right?
have just a few right there in a row, and you had to know how to hit them. Well,
Okay.
the main thing is guys would start to clutter together towards the end because you're making that last
Yeah.
rush for the finish line. And so one time I pedaled, me and another guy pedaled each other. They clanked together, and that was it, man. We hit the ground. And
Oh.
everybody coming over there just basically rode over us.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, nobody got hurt. We had
Yeah.
helmets on, and
Yeah.
but those were the type of things that would happen. Stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was a lot of fun,
Yeah.
man.
And was it just the joy of winning? Were there prizes, or just
Yeah,
just
you would
bragging
get
rights, or what
Sure. Well, you'd have your bragging rights. You'd have your trophy.
trophies,
If you won first place, you get in the biggest trophy. Second, a little smaller. Third, it's even smaller. They would also
Okay.
give away prizes with it. You may get some donuts for your grips, and
Oh, okay.
donuts are little pads that would go there, keep your hands from getting blisters and whatnot.
Yeah.
They may be giving away some Oakley grips, or some flight seat pads, or flight racing pads for your bike, or brake levers. There was tons of really cool prizes. Yeah, a lot of fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And how many races? Let's say you go on a Sunday morning. How many races could you compete on one day, or is it just one?
That's a
or
good question. Yeah, well, it depends on how many guys are in your age group and in your level. So, like
Okay.
at that time, there wasn't a lot of guys in our age group, so we may only have to race one time to find
I
out
see.
who's going to win our division.
I
Now,
see.
as you got older, there were a lot of older guys so they may have to have 2 or 3 races to dwindle it down to see who's going to
Oh, it's a kind of a elimination round
elimination,
and so
right.
forth. Okay.
right
Okay.
to see who's going to win for
round it
that
out. Okay. I
Right,
see.
right.
Yeah.
But it was there. I mean, it was huge at that time too.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was huge. BMX racing, was everywhere. There was magazines everywhere. The bikes. There was a lot of good bike shops at the time. So there was a lot
Okay.
of access to it, and it was a lot of fun.
Okay. Well, thank you for those stories about the karate class and the BMX dirt racing.
Thank you so much. Look forward to coming on again.
Well,
Have
we
a
look
good one.
forward to having you back with more stories from the 80s. Folks, take care. Until next time.